If you're listening to this podcast, there's a good chance that you're a hunter or you just enjoy the great outdoors. Now's the time to step up. There have been countless efforts to vilify hunters, denounce the legitimacy of the science-based wildlife management model. There's no science to this stance, and it is solely emotionally charged. We don't want to see what happened with the grizzly hunt replay itself again with the remaining large carnivores and big game species. It's a slippery slope, folks. We need to stand together. Now is the time for hunters to be united across all organizations and show our combined support. Please go to wildsheepsociety.com/act now and follow the steps. It doesn't take much time and it will help save the future of hunting. This applies to residents and non-residents alike. Please, let's use our voice and be heard. On with the show, folks. This is episode 25 of the Wilderness Locals podcast. On this episode, I sit down with two of my closest friends, Wacedog and Klassen. This podcast is brought to you by Kafaru International, the toughest hunting gear on the planet, bar none. Frontiersman gear, high quality, completely custom handmade knives made in the heart of the Peace Country. And as always, we're brought to you by Just Shooting Arrows, BC's premier archery shop.
I'm just trying to do all the good husbandry things before bear season gets rolling here.
Yeah, is she pretty cool about bear season or what?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, she's good. I this year's gonna be different. It's gonna be my first full year spot and stock. No bait. So I spot and stocked last year too, but I wanted to straight up full spot and stock this year and try and kill an Alabama slammer. I think if we had bait here, you wouldn't be able to get me off of it, like ever.
Like you'd be fighting the bears for the food, or
100%. Like I want those donuts.
Like when I would bait, like I would like scoop out peanut butter and stuff. I'd eat some, give some to the bears. Like everything I fed the bears, I'd eat.
You nasty. Yeah, no, that's interesting though. You know, like when we talk about baiting, some people get way turned off, and I think it's probably because they don't know how much work it is, right? I only know how much work it is from hanging out with you. Yeah, it's just like you got to feed them and feed them and feed them, because if the food runs out and it runs out for a day, they're gone. And then not only that, really, it doesn't matter what kind of feed you have. Once the green up starts and the dandelions start popping, and then the poplar leaves, the poplar buds on top of the trees start budding, they'll climb up and start eating them. And then they, like, you're just steady fighting, like, because I mean, they don't really want to. So to me, it was always like, you got to get, you know, if you're going to kill a good boar, I always like to try and do it early, man. Like the big boars would hit before anything was green, and they were just committed to the bait in the daylight. You could kill them, because after that, they just went dark. It went nocturnal, and then you were fighting green up. And because you hear a lot of guys say, "Oh man, I was baiting and everything's going good." And it's just like a switch. The bears just left. I don't know what happened. Well, yeah, green up happened, because they're going to go eat green shoots of grass. Yeah, totally. And if you got a shitty bait with shitty food, you're really not going to have a chance, right? But yeah, they'll still come. I'm kidding. They'll still come though if you got good feed. And it's a racket, man. Baiting, it's a lot of work, because if you got to feed, like when I'd get off work, you know, you go feed and then try and feed every other day, or have enough feed to last you 3-4 days, because you can't let it run out. If it runs out, the bears are gone. I can just put that much effort into just spot and stock. And what about going in there? Like when you're in there mixing everything up and getting your scent all in there, and you're in there sweating and farting and being gross.
Yeah. So what I would do is, if I was trying to kill a big bear, I would go in and I would bring like an old sweaty t-shirt or something, and I would throw it up in my stand. So when he would come in, because every big boar is going to circle the bait and wind it.
So they get used to me, my smell being up there all the time. And then I would go and sit and then boom, they come in, circle the bait, wind you, didn't care, come in.
You'd be like, this
lots of little
dude
tricks like
is
that.
Always here. He must not be trying to kill us. I'm in.
And another little trick I use too is I would bait and, you know, go in with a quad, bait, leave. Then you just look on the camera and 6 minutes after you bait it, they come back to feed. So I just go in, bait, and then leave. Go in, bait, leave, and do that for like a freaking month. And then go in, I'd get somebody to come in with me on the quad. They'd bait, I'd climb up in the stand, they'd leave 6 minutes later, I shot that one bear that was just over 20 inch. It's like, you can play him a little bit, you know, so it works.
Chad, would we be baiting if we could?
Oh yeah, 100%. You know what? Just for the opportunities and being able to take boars.
Yeah.
Yeah. The judgment time, being able to watch them would help a lot.
I know.
That's
like
one,
all the chances
one
that
big.
Go ahead, Wace.
Go ahead. I was going to say that's one big plus for baiting is you could judge, right? Like you can just look them over and make sure you're not killing a sow or sow with cubs, you know, because sometimes them sows will treat them little tiny cubs outside the bait, and then she'll come in to feed, right? Because she knows there's a big boar there. So, but if you're watching your camera and paying attention, you know she's a sow, so you're not going to shoot her, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're rifle hunting bears or something, and she treat them cubs, and it's kind of hard to tell sometimes at longer distance.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, most of the chances that we get out here are pretty, I mean, at least where I hunt most of the time in the timber and stuff like that, your chances are pretty quick. Like, I mean, that last bear that I shot with my bow, what was that, like 9-10 yards or something? And like,
cross right below us.
Oh, there's a bear at our feet. Flap. Like, there's not a whole lot of time for looking, because in a second they're out of view again, right? So it's like, okay, I don't see any cubs. Let it rip.
The trick is you got to let me take a nap and then just wake up and play.
Anytime I let Chatty take a nap when we're out, like as soon as he wakes up, he's like, oh, what about that elk that's standing in front of us, bro? I'm like, oh yeah. Great.
Like
that's the key to good hunting.
I've never baited deer because it's not legal here. But
yeah.
I know, like, I wonder what that's like. Is it kind of like baiting bears, you know? Like, is it that much work?
I've tried it.
I don't know.
I mean, I bait the crap out of blacktail. Like, I don't know anybody that packs more salt in than I do, but, I think more than anything, it kind of helps you get an inventory. I still don't like, at least with blacktail, I don't find them very predictable, but I mean, I know guys that pack hay and good whitetail spots and stuff like that, and they can get a pretty good beat on who's in the area and when they're going to be coming through and that kind of thing. Eh, Chatty?
Yeah, I think so. I tried baiting earlier in the season with whitetails, and it used like a whole like bucket load of apples, and they actually didn't touch it.
Yeah,
it was weird. Like the elk would come up and like look at it, the deer wouldn't touch it. It was just the bears eating it.
Yeah, I think it really depends on how much time they have to kind of figure out that it's there and figure out that it's food too, you know. I mostly just do the salt thing with blacktail and, elk and stuff like that. But
like, as far as people saying that baiting bears is the crapshoot, it cannot be. Like, if you're chasing like a certain bear, like an older boar, and he's like onto you, that you're hunting him, good luck, because he's just gonna start hitting it. Like them old bears, they'll just lay back in the bush 150. I've seen them, like they lay back 150 yards with their head on a log. They just lay there, wait till dark, wait for you to get down, and they hear you leave, and they come in, man. They're so smart. People don't give them old boars much credit, man. Yeah, but that one big brown bear,
for a reason.
Yeah, the one big brown bear I arrowed a few years ago. I finally I had him in front of me the year before. He come in, he just laid right down, went to feeding with his ass to me. I never had a shot. He stood up and he just wheeled. He turned, he walked right to me.
He looked at me, and then he turned and he just asked to me and walked out of the bait. That was my one chance at him. And he never gave me a shot. Broadside shot with the recurve. And then the next year I hunted, like I maybe sat probably 30 plus days for that boar. And he finally came in with a sow. He was running the sow. He came in, he was just frothing at the mouth, and he was trying to kill her cubs. And he come in and, he finally gave me that shot, but it took me 30 days pretty much to just get one opportunity. And that's bait. That's everybody's like, well, bait and bear is like shooting fish in a barrel. Not all the time, man. Best bet. Your best bet is either you're going to get them early before green up, anything's popping, or get them when they're running sows around the bait. And if you can hold sows on the bait with good feed, the boars will be there.
I think it's because people watch a lot of the YouTube videos where people try and cram like 3 weeks of footage into a 5-minute video, and they just see like bear after bear after bear on the bait, and they're like, oh, that's all it is to it. Like they don't see all the effort and the amount of time that you're sitting there and nothing will show up.
I mean, that's hunting TV in general though, isn't it? Like, with the exception of some of these kind of newer things like Meat Eater and some of these other ones, it's like, who was it that was like, they got the magic log always, right? Always laughing about it.
That was me. I said, they're just baiting deer. You watch the video and you watch the video and there's a deer slumped over the magic log that happens to be rotten from the 700 pounds of feed and salt that's been poured all over it for 5 years or whatever. Yeah.
And magically these deer are just going to a pile of sticks and logs. It's like, what is so good about this pile of sticks and logs?
So funny. But some of those shows that show how hard stuff is, they're way more enjoyable anyways, right?
I preferably enjoy like watching like Meat Eater, man. It's kind of refreshing. It's not so one dimensional, and he's like, like smoked him. Like normal.
Is he down? Is he down? Is he down, Hunter? Is he down? Like, shut up. Get out of here.
Rage in the cage. Just smoked him.
That dude's anti-gun too. The is he down guy.
Oh yeah,
which is super weird. That's like entirely that dude's audience is like gun toting Silverado driving men. And by the way, I don't like. Yeah, that guy, right? And that dude's anti-gun. It kind of freaked me out when I found that out.
Yeah, I think I told you about that when we were in Alberta.
Yeah, I was like, this can't be true. I started crying. No, but you're definitely right, man. It's super refreshing. Like, I think my favorite one is Solo Hunter, man. That show rules.
Oh yeah, I've been on a watching spree of that.
Yeah, dude, it's good. Like, I can't imagine either. Like, when Remy was on Stickbow Chronicles, they were talking to Remy about like setting up for those shots, and then he like packs out a bull, goes back and gets the camera, like runs back and forth. He's like, I basically do the pack out 3 or 4 times to get it filmed. Oh, it's insane.
That's dedication.
Yeah. Remy's one of the few guys in the industry I'm doing air quotes when I say industry, but the few guys in the hunting world that's like, I really like,
Yeah.
Remy's good.
Yeah. Me too.
Besides stealing Hart's elk party.
Yeah, that was wrong, Remy. Way to go. Should have called that the Hartinger special. No, seriously, Wacey, like, Hart was helping me kind of get my elk game down in the area that he's in. And he was like teaching me one of his, main tricks. And Hart's a guy that kills a bull every year, and he kills good bulls every year and knows what he's doing. And he's been doing it forever. And he like, teaches me this calling sequence and how he does it and how he sets up. And he's like, oh, you can do it like this if you're by yourself, and it's like a 3-hour long master class of how to do this one setup. And I'm not kidding you. Like maybe a week later, Remy Warren's like, and I call this move the elk party. It's like the exact same thing verbatim. It's great. Yeah. No. So there's like Hart's going to serve him papers, I think. So Chatty's a stick bow guy now. I don't know what happened.
Yep, sold all the compound bows. So
yeah,
that never.
Did you have any compounds, Chad?
Yeah, I had a couple of them. It didn't have an appeal to me. Like it just.
He wasn't shooting them or nothing, but
yeah, I only got a shot at one buck like years ago. And I slapped its back with the shaft of the arrow. And then I've killed piles of grouse with a bow. Makes sense of that. Can hit a grouse at 30 yards, but shoot over top of a deer at 40 yards.
Yeah.
I think what happens with the wood bow guys that come from compound, because I did this a little bit, you kind of have like a breakdown when you get a live animal in front of you and you all of a sudden try to aim the damn thing. When you just spent the last 6 months shooting instinctively or picking a spot or whatever you've been doing, gap instinctive. Yeah. And then guys just start, then as soon as they get an animal in front of them, they try to just bear down and look down the arrow and end up shooting high. Because obviously if you're close, right, at 20 yards, you got to pretty much your point on. You'd have to put the point of your arrow at like the kneecap of that deer before you're going to hit him behind the shoulder. I think that's what happens with a lot of guys shoot high with stick bows.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Chad was saying he shot high with a compound. The one time that he did take a shot at a deer with his
well, then I don't know.
Compound there, yeah.
Sights might be sight tape must be fucked.
Yeah. So the thing was, I forgot to take into account the hill that it was on, and that screwed me up.
Yeah, you didn't cut yardage, but you've dove down the trad stick bow rabbit hole.
Yeah. Stole
2 bows from me.
Yeah.
Like, stole both my wood bows.
Well, you're a good friend, so
yeah, right. Where the other day he was over here and I was helping him tune arrows, and we're shooting. He's like, "Hey, let me shoot that Tolkien of yours," and I was like, "Oh, sure." We ran in the house and grabbed it. Shoots like 3 arrows at it. He's like, "This is my bow now." Like, I don't know. So Jared's gonna have another order here shortly, but
I mean, so coming in, basically you didn't really have much experience with compounds, right? Did you have any compound kills, Chad?
Just grouse. That's it. Just pegging the ditch chickens.
It's kind of going to be interesting to see, because I've never met a guy that hasn't had, like, you're basically a blank slate, right? So
yeah,
you're going to, if you're going to do this right from start to finish, you're going to be getting your first kills with the wood bow. So it's kind of interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes.
And then I will earn
you might as well.
You
might as well do it. Right?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, go full commitment. Why not?
I can't do it. I can't. I need those wheels.
I see some people that running around Instagram with a wood bow. They should not have a fucking wood bow.
They should have a gun.
They should have a gun.
Oh, man.
Oh, buddy, there's that one guy whose name we won't say, but you were sending me groups and you're like, this guy's asking me for help. I don't know what to tell him. I was like, man, tell him to move closer to the target. Like, what are you doing?
He's like, that was 5 yards.
No, dude. This one that Wacey's been sending me, and this guy's asking Wacey for help. I'm like, I think he's beyond help, man.
What? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Fucking I just grabbed my own hair and beat my head against the fucking wall, because I told him, I'm like, dude, you gotta, like,
like stand right at the fucking target and learn what a good shot feels like. He's like, well, Tom Klom said my form and my technique is great. I said, that may be true, but you couldn't hit the side of a fucking pickup truck, man, at 5 feet. Like, just, you got to change something, I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of utility in doing the blank bailing thing, man. Like, just working on your release. Like, my compound stuff came a long way by, at my old place before I had room to shoot in the winter, shooting indoors, like, the length of my old shop, like there's a lot of utility there to develop your release and get that shot to break clean, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's half. I honestly think that's half of it with archery in general. Like, just everybody rushes that release and they with a compound, they hammer that trigger and just send that arrow. And then with a stick bow is just like getting the release to break how it's supposed to, right? I mean, I struggle with it. Whenever I send you a video, you're like, hey, do this,
Yeah, I've gotten so good at picking people apart because I've done it to myself for the last five years. I know what the fuck, like somebody can send me a video and I could just be like, this, and this is what you got to fix, right? Before you're going to be getting anywhere.
I honestly think the trick to it is shooting a target in the hotel room in southern Alberta.
All I could think was like, man, if this fucking axis blows into the elevator.
What do you think the people are thinking when, like, in the neighboring rooms when I'm shooting the bow in the hotel room before we're going in the next day?
Wacey yelling, don't come out of the bathroom, Dad.
Oh, that was so funny, man.
That was a fun fucking trip, man. I enjoyed that.
I can't wait to do it again. I hope we glass Lander up again from a distance. Then now we can text him and be like, "We see you, Lander."
Like the last one we got pheasants. When did he cackle? Did he cackle? Like, we're coming out, like, so everybody knows this story. We're coming out of this fucking draw, and we run into this pheasant hunter, and
Tommy Pheasant from Calgary.
So we were walking, we bumped a pheasant. I don't know shit about birds. Like, I don't know nothing about anything bird related. And the guy's like, Chad's like, yeah, we jumped a rooster. And the guy's like, oh, did it cackle? And Chad's like, yeah, it cackled. I just looked at Chad. I'm like, what the fuck? I've never heard of a bird cackle.
Wacey had just met you, Chad, at that point too. And Wacey looked at me. He's like, who is this guy and where did you find him? Like, what?
I always make a point to introduce myself well.
What's that? Yeah, dude. Well, don't you remember? They're like ripping around in Tacoma's, just blowing deers out of this basin. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's the middle of deer season. Could you not? Like,
remember that one day it was just a snowstorm. It was just like sideways snow, man. I'm like, oh, you couldn't see 5 feet. We roll into this one piece of public. There's like pheasant hunters doing a push through these like scrub brush, trying to get pheasants up with their dogs. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you that hard up for a pheasant?
Like, what is this?
Yeah. Each to their own, I guess.
You should have told them to make a segue out of there.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Yeah. Sorry, Tanner. Like, I don't know, maybe chasing birds is fun. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's loads of fun.
Oh, come on.
Oh, dude, I'm going to go stick bow for the pheasants in Alberta. You guys can chase your deer.
You guys can chase your dumb 200-inch mule deer. I'm going there for roosters. What?
You just hear me running around cackling.
I'm like definitely the wrong guy though, like where I live now with my buddy Tom, who's like constantly just shooting limits of geese and ducks and stuff. I was telling Chatty Wace, I was like, yeah, Tom keeps inviting me out, but I can't peel myself away from, like chasing deer, trying to cut that last blacktail tag. I had one deer tag left last year, and he's like, what is wrong with you? The guy's like shooting like piles of birds. I'm like, I don't know. I've never done it, and I'm scared. If I like it, I'm screwed. I'll get a divorce.
Yes,
don't have the time.
My
say to her, hey, mama,
that's like me, man.
Duck
Like,
hunting.
yeah, it's like me, man. I can't do it all anymore. I've even like stepped back from trapping. I still did a little bit this year, but it's just like, I can't be like going just full out on everything anymore because my wife and kids need me around here a little bit more. So got to pick and choose.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I was just talking to Tanner earlier tonight. He finished my knife, which is badass.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, super cool. But I was talking to Tanner tonight, and he was, said the same thing. I gotta kind of pick and choose when I'm spending time away from the shop, which I mean, you can substitute family for shop for us, but because he starts getting behind and stuff like that. It's the same with a family, right? You spend too much time away, you come home and everybody's mad at you. So I think I'm going to probably get one good solid bear trip in, and then maybe an overnight here and there, and then just try to hunt them locally after that.
That's why I'm living the high life.
Yeah. We got young single Chad here just doing whatever. Well, not single, you have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
But just driving around with elk sheds, honking his horn.
Going too fast on the highway.
Old Trad Chad here. So let's get back into that. So,
What are you using for a tab, Chad? Chad tab.
Chad tab. Chad tab.
What's the one you gave me? This is how fresh I am.
Yeah, this is how new Chatty is. I gave him a Widow tab, a 3-under Widow tab.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they're pretty good. I think
I don't even know the difference.
Yeah. No, they're Cordova, I think, is the face of them.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't know the difference. I'm just here to sling arrows and try and get as good as I can.
He's getting reps in though. Like whenever I talk to him and it's daylight, he's like, I can't talk. I'm shooting arrows. Click. I'm like, okay. all right, cool.
I don't want to be too cocky, but I feel like I'm off to a good start.
Dude, I've wanted to tell this story. I felt like I kind of like when we did like one of the first
podcast. Will you get arrested?
It's totally appropriate. So like when we first did the pod, like with like when you like, I'm doing air quotes right now, like interviewed me on the like episode 2 or whatever, like how I got into stick bows.
Yeah.
Like how I can, so kind of like I wanted to just like the story. What happened with that was when I kind of left this out. I will kind of feel bad about it now, but there's this guy, his name's Adam Brennan. And I was struggling, dude. Like there was no one around to help. Tom Clum wasn't a thing. There was really like, you found a few things here and there on the internet. And when I reached out to Adam, and this guy lived in Calgary, dude, he drove up, which is like 4 hours. And he worked with me for 2 days, and that's what got me rolling. Like he got my bow dialed up. He got my arrows set, like when I was first breaking out. So if it wasn't for Adam taking the time to come up and like show me the ropes and show me how to do things, I would never be where I'm at. And like, that's why I always I pass it forward. Anytime anybody messages me, man, I'll do what I can. I freaking sent a guy in BC at one of my bows one time. He wanted a bow and he didn't have enough money, and I sent him a bow. I send guys quivers, arrows, anything I can do to get guys rolling, because what Adam did for me, that's kind of how my start. I left that out. I kind of feel bad about that, but I wanted to bring it up.
Where's that dude now?
He moved up to the Yukon. He's from the Yukon originally, and he kind of vanished almost. Like he's still on IG. You can find him, Adam Brennan. He had a podcast there for a while. Northern Traditions, it was.
Oh yeah,
good dude, man. Solid guy.
Yeah.
Solid guy. I think he just like stepping back from social media,
and just focusing on his family and stuff, which is
not a bad call.
But if it wasn't for that man right there, I would have just fallen right back to the damn compound. 100%.
Yeah. You'd be knocking on.
Yep. So like when Chatty's like starting this, I'm like, I know exactly where Chatty's at, right? Like Chatty's he's gonna have a good start because he's got some good guys to help him, you know.
I honestly feel like I cheated with the stick bow a bit. Like I got super proficient with the compound and now I'm shooting the stick bow, and like the stick bow was always challenging, but it was never like, I was never like losing arrows into the freaking neighbor's siding of their house or anything like that, you know? I kind of feel like it's cheating. And now like having shot stick bows for a couple of years, I've had the resources the whole time. Like Snyder was already like well into teaching people how to shoot stick bows, and Klum already existed and all that stuff by the time I started, right?
Like Klum existed
for me.
Yeah. But it was just, he wasn't like a presence that he is now, right? Like he wasn't teamed up with the push, and you know, like he has always been around. I think he's been doing it his whole life, but it just like I never heard of Tom Klum till like, you know, Snyder started bringing him out into the daylight, right?
Yeah, it's a big thing nowadays. Like I'm able to, like, you guys just send me links. It's like, oh, arrow tuning and like spine too stiff or too weak. And it's like, oh, like if you can't send it over text, the explanation, the fact that you can send a video makes it easy for me to understand.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're kind of lucky too. Like you have two hardcore archery geeks as your close buddies that you can lean on. Like,
and that's a big thing. Like I don't know anything about bows. Like if you ask me about guns and hand loading and all that stuff, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
In the hunting world and shooting world. So
yeah, I don't know anything about guns really. I mean, like I know stuff about guns, but not enough to like do anything.
They shoot.
Yeah, they kill stuff when I point them at them sometimes, you know.
Unless it's
I only have one.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, no, but like I think with this wood bow thing, man, like you're the type of guy. There's certain people that just like don't got it, you know. They don't got that. I don't know what it is, that drive or that it.
What are you trying to say about me, Wacey? What are you trying to say, man?
Just I know you got it. I think like Chatty's got it. Chatty's got it. He knows what's up. Like, and he's got the work ethic to put into it. Cause like shooting wood bows is a pain in the ass. It's a giant pain in the ass, man. You got to like keep on that shit all the time. My whole goal when I started shooting a wood bow, I was like, I want to be good enough when I set this bow down. I could set it down for 30 days and I could pick up right where I left off. And
that's a big ask.
That's kind of where I'm at now. That's where I'm at now. Like I can pick that bow up, draw anchor, and still break that shot just like when I stopped. So
really,
that was my goal. I'm there kind of now. I still have my mental breakdowns here and there, but
I like how you were really confident until you thought about it more. You're like, I'm there. Yeah, I'm there. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to find out how it is for me because the past 5 days I've had a bit of a back injury and I just set the bow down just to recover properly.
Yeah.
So
that's smart.
Yeah. Plus anytime I get frustrated, like if it's not going how I want it, I put it down for the evening. I'm like, okay, better not to get frustrated and keep going and make mistakes.
Man, that's so important to try not to shoot yourself out of a funk. You just, and in my opinion anyways, you just end up embedding that stuff, you know, like when you have a bad shoot, you just keep shooting, it just keeps going bad. And then I usually just hang it up if it starts going sideways on me. I found when I do that, I just start I'll film a few shots and I know I'm just not in the right mindset or I'm not doing things right. And then I review those videos and see what's going on.
I think a big thing that'll help you, Chad, especially just with this upcoming season, I think you really need to try and like get after some bears. And you really need to try and get to some 3D ranges with some hills and do some different shot angles and stuff, just so you're not flat-footed in your backyard pounding a bag.
You can just get out, do some real like scenario shit, and stick a bear. I mean, I think that's good practice.
We got a good bear spot for him too, right here. That all the shots seem to either be under 30 or over 100.
Yeah. I'm going for those 100-yard shots.
Yeah, send it. You just aim at the tree tops.
Yeah, and just drop it down on the spine.
Yeah. No, I think you're onto something there, though. The 3D thing is tough right now here in BC. I don't think there's been a 3D shoot since over a year ago now.
Yeah, I don't keep up to date on it, unfortunately.
Have 3Ds been running out their ways?
No, I don't think so. They had the course set up last year.
Yep.
But I think you could just you buy your membership and just go shoot. I don't think they're going to have any shoots, so I don't know. It's annoying.
I think I know what I can do in my backyard, though. My dad built a clubhouse when I was a kid. Stand up there and set up a goat target and just shoot 20 yards down.
I'll tell you a technique I used. I was when I was kind of first starting out, and I couldn't pick a spot on a black bear. I just struggled with it because it's this black blob, right? Because what happened when I was learning, I'd pick spots on of a piece of foam missing on a target, right? And then my arrow would go there, and I would just picking spots and hitting them fine. But then I came to where I needed to shoot a bear, and it was just solid black. I couldn't do it. I was like, where the hell did I freaking pick a spot on this thing? So then what I kind of did to get over that, I stood on the roof of my house and I taped, I took black garbage bags, and I split them down the seam, and I just wrap my whole bear target in black, solid black. And I just the outline of the bear. And then that's how I learned how to freaking pick a spot on nothing. Right. That's how I did that.
Wasey's neighbors are just looking at the window what is wrong with this guy?
Having a dip and a cigarette while shooting a bear target from his roof.
Falls off his roof with his bow.
Dude, I can't believe how that video still gets around, man. People are still commenting on it.
I posted it in my story the other day and everybody was laughing. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only psycho that.
How about some tactics?
Don't make me laugh, joke. Make me laugh, joke boy.
Dude, that video that you made about tuning a compound, you just how to settle your peep. I think it was. Have you heard that one? Wasey's like, man, just draw your bow back. If your peep's not centered, draw your bow back. Let her rip. Just without an arrow on it. It'll spring your peep right dead centered. It's now that the limbs are 400 feet apart from each other.
Yeah.
So
I used to do lots of.
My dad blew up a compound bow one time.
Did he?
Yeah. It was when we first started hunting. Friends first took us out, and they were showing my dad the compound bow, and he draws it, and he just lets her fly and just kaboom, blows apart.
I guess you never know if nobody told you, right?
Yeah.
I was shooting beside my brother-in-law one time, and he was new into archery, and we're shooting, and his bow just goes bang. He was shooting to Matthews, and it's bang, and I look over, and the string's off the cam. I'm like, did you knock an arrow? He's like, I think so. I wonder how often that happens. Guys just forget to knock arrows. Just boom, blow that fucker up.
That's insane. I don't want any part of that at all.
It's in the muzzleloader world, the amount of time that, I used to shoot flintlocks quite a bit.
Which there's no reason for in BC whatsoever.
Dude, it's because I want to be the last of the Mohicans, But yeah, guys would not even put powder in, and they'd put the lead ball down there, and then they would sit there forever just priming the pan, and then it just fizz, and then that's it.
Bang.
And it's didn't put powder in.
That sounds terrible.
Could you imagine being in battle with one of them guns? Just hold still. I'm going to load this thing. Don't move.
You imagine that guy that could hit the broadside of a pickup in battle with a bow,
just cramming lead balls down with no powder.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Is there a muzzle loader or flintlock season in Alberta? I can't remember.
I want to say
I don't care. I don't care.
I want to say there is, but I think it's like, it's just like certain areas are like shotgun, and I don't know. I mean, be honest,
I know Saskatchewan does, but
that's your place.
Yeah,
that's where you need to be, Chatty.
I'll just sit there with my raccoon skin cap and my flintlock, never firing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd be hard pressed to get me in the woods when everybody else has rifles and you got something that's like 48 inches long and might hit maybe.
Dude, try for the barrel being 42 inches long.
Yeah, right? That's what I mean. They're ridiculous. Okay, my gun's as big as I am. Mm-hmm. Like, what? Why?
Because it's sick.
Oh, dude. That's awesome.
You just want to smell rotten eggs from that powder burning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to try to get some bears with your wooden bow, Chad?
Yeah. Where I usually go bear hunting, I've got a few bears in mind. There's a nice big chocolate colored one that's usually up in the same clearing every year.
Dibs.
And I just hunt that area all the time, and I pulled a couple nice bears out of there. That really big one I pulled out of there, and then a nice cinnamon colored one. But yeah, I go up every year just to keep an eye. I'm sorry.
What are you saying? You guys got some big bears like where you are, eh? Like coastal bears are huge or what?
They're pretty big, but I don't have actually a lot of experience with coastal bears. I usually go up into the interior for bears.
Yeah. I mean, there is some slobs down here though, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, any of that kind of BC hunting, anything is, there's big everything around. You just have to find them.
Yeah. There's some 35-foot bears here and there. We'll leave that story for after.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually on the island, like the northern part of the island, and then going up the coast, you can get some monster bears. There's guys that pulled out 7.5-foot bears, and that's just nuts. That's huge wild for a black bear.
Yeah, some old boars.
Yeah.
What's a big bear in Alberta?
I don't know. To be straight with you, I don't measure I don't square bears and I don't measure bears for some reason. I just measure skulls. That's it. We'll weigh the odd one. I'll be like, well, I think he's like 400 or 500 pounds, and then we'll put him on a scale and be like, yeah, he's 450 or whatever. But I think I honestly in Alberta, man, a big black bear would be 7 foot. I mean, I think a respectable bear would be 6.5 foot, like a really good kind of bear. I don't know.
I like to keep them under 4 feet myself.
Cole shoots whatever.
Yeah.
Ground swatting pheasants.
Dude, he's funny, man. That guy's hilarious. He's got a good chances at a rage. He's definitely ruined my chances at a rage sponsorship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't keep using his jingles, you know? Yeah. Well,
dude, if you want to see how
shots into great shots.
If you want to see how aggressively protective people are about the fan club stuff, make fun of Rage. See who gets mad.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to. I hate it. I hate it. I gotta quit poking fun at people because it's in good fun, you know. I like to mess around, but
it's in good fun. But seriously,
why? Yeah, no, the hunting community, I think, is one of those communities that is actually a like caricature of itself, you know, like how like compartmentalized it is. It's like, I shoot a green bow. Well, I shoot a red bow. We can't be friends. Like, what? Why not? It's crazy.
You're not crazy. A man if you don't shoot a 338.
Yeah, exactly. Do you find that out there?
I shoot it. Yeah, man, it's the same. Like, but there is some like good dudes too. Like, I think there's a lot of good dudes. Like, I know some guys out here like Dane and Jordan, Cole, like some of my old buddies like that. Man, them guys are just as happy as if they would have shot something, you know, or whatever. They're good. Yeah. There's lots of good dudes, but there's a lot of assholes too. Ego, I mean, shit just gets annoying, man, after a while.
Somebody asked me on here, like, or not on here, on Instagram. I did one of those, I think it was on yesterday, Sunday. I did one of those Q&As that we like to do so much. And I just said, hey, whatever, ask whatever. And this dude was like, hey, I want to come on your podcast. And I was like, cool. Anybody can come on the podcast as long as they have like a unique perspective, a cool story, and they have to be pro hunting. I don't want to have any anti-hunting folks on here. And the last thing was, you can't be a weird egomaniac. Like, I'm not doing it. No, not into it. You gotta be cool.
Dude, there's so much of it too. It's just crazy. I don't know. Some guys just like, I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird.
The biggest one I ran into when I worked at the gun shop, if there were some guys that would actually get so mad at me if I suggested a rifle that didn't have a wood stock.
What?
Yeah, they're like, that's not a hunting rifle. It doesn't have a wood stock.
What?
Oh, yeah. It's pretty insane. They're like, yeah, you're not a real hunter if you use a synthetic stock rifle.
That's a weird one. Oh, here's a question for you, Wace. Total arrow weight, Wacey shooting, how much up front?
600 total.
Do you dive down the FOC? Do you dive?
No, I don't even know what my percentage is.
You don't get fucked up?
No, I don't even know. No, no, I don't even know what my FOC percentage is. All I know is
perfect.
I bare shaft tune my arrows. My arrows are tuned for that bow, and so with I'm usually right around 200 up front, and this last batch of arrows I did for this Tolkien Chinook, I was around 595 grains, 200 up front, pretty much like 600 grains total. Yeah. Shooting darts.
And you're shooting, you're shooting a 50 pound bow, right?
Yeah. Yep.
At like 38 and a half inches of draw.
I thought you were going to say 38 and a half feet per second.
Pretty well.
Dude, like being a long draw is a pain in the ass. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're so lucky you got that power stroke." I'm like, "Yeah, try and tune some shit." Tuning. Like,
yeah,
I gotta have freaking bows that are 14 feet long. Like everything's just like
not that tall.
Super annoying, man.
60.
It's a 60, but the only reason I did that is just because I talked to Dan, and Dan's like, yeah, it'll handle it. And them limbs open up, man. Like, I wouldn't generally try and shoot just anybody's 60-inch bow. The only reason I went with that is because, you know, Dan's like, yeah, you're fine. He's like, it'll take it. I'm like, a 31-inch?
Like
he's like, yeah, that's fine.
That whip that I got to 58 and Chad's shooting it at 29 and a half. And man, those
whips.
Those arrows are zipping out of that thing, man.
Yeah. So when we had Bill on, you know, and he said that, what was that equation that I'm not a techie guy, but he said like, so for momentum,
MC squared.
You know, it's like your speed times, velocity equals momentum or whatever his equation was. So for me, like, at 600 grains, I feel like I'm a bit heavy. My ultimate goal with that arrow build, I was hoping to end up around 550, 525, 550. That was kind of my ultimate goal with that bow, and I overshot it a bit. just kind of how that arrow built out. That's how it finished.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I ordered some new arrows. I'm going to try these Easton Axis. They're a little lower GPI than these gold tip trads. And then,
I'm a big fan of that
gold tips
system.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So that gold tips, I'm shooting their 204s, but this arrow is 11.1 GPIs. The Axis, I think, are 9.3 GPI. So
maybe later than that. I think I could check, but
so it's going to put me right around when I'm pretty sure when I'm done this batch of arrows, I'm going to be right around that 500 grains on this. So I'm going to pick up a little more speed, which is kind of what I want.
Yeah.
There's a happy medium, man. Like Bill said, there's a happy medium. You can't just be lobbing logs, but you got to retain some speed to keep that momentum.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And so you're
wherever that falls, like if it's 500, it's just going to be to everybody's bow, everybody's draw, everything. Like, so where do you, with your bow, with your compound, you're 550?
No, I'm about 521. And I'm shooting 75 grain insert, 25 grain collar, and 100 grain point. So yeah, I'm 200 up front. And I'm running a little bit of a longer arrow than I normally do to break down the spine. But that's also a 70-pound compound at 28 inches, right? That thing's zipping out. Those new Matthews bows are rated at like 343 feet per second. Like they boogie, man. But yeah, and like to get my stick to tune, it's like the extreme opposite, It's like I went to a Black Eagle Rampage and I'm going to be 225 up front to get a 400 spine to tune, and it'll be a nearly full length arrow, like a 31-inch arrow, which is real long for me for a 28-inch draw guy. But I mean, they fly wicked. Yeah. The bear shafts fly wicked that way. So.
And I'm so new into this, I don't even know what I'm shooting. Tyler gave me arrows.
Yeah, Chad's shooting a 400 spine axis with 225 up front, but it's cut pretty short, so a little stiffer.
Dude, like when everybody asks me how do I tune arrows? I just send them that video of Ken Beck.
I don't know if I've seen that one ever.
It's a good one.
I sent it to everybody. Ken Beck's a 10-minute video. He just tells you the nitty gritty about tuning arrows and what it means.
It's really good.
And I sent it to Chatty. I'm like, this is what you want your arrows to recover. Like you don't want. So like Ken says, he always keeps a bare shaft handy. Like he doesn't fletch out. He leaves one unfletched, or he'll just fletch it with just the quills, no feathers. And he'll just see what it's doing. He just shoots it, and then if he's weak or stiff or if his release is bad, the naked arrow tells the naked truth, is what he says.
Yeah, I usually throw a wrap on, and then I'll throw a bit of electrical tape on the ass end of the arrow to get the weight to the same as my vanes for bear shafting. Because I'm like super anal retentive, of course, but super unnecessary. But I mean, I try to get bear shaft out to 60 with my compounds, but that's obviously not really an option out of the stick. I've been shooting bear shaft up to like 30 with the stick and having it track good. So
yeah. So like, it's kind of, people think like when you pick up a wood bow, you're just gonna, well, it's just simple, right? Knock an arrow and start flinging, and it can be that simple. If you just grab some arrows and start shooting, and it'll probably work. Your arrows will correct it. Your feathers will correct it, but eventually you're going to have to, if you want to pick up accuracy, you're going to have to do some work, man. Like,
yeah. I mean, I how many dudes are shooting a whatever 300 or 340 spine that's cut 1 inch over their draw length with 116 grains in the front because it came with a 16 grain aluminum insert, and you just screw 100 grain point onto it? Like everyone, like that's what everybody shoots on Earth,
And then they throw on their blue coffee.
I never understood. Like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ty. I want you to just tell me, because I'm not like, I don't paper tune. I just bear shaft out of my stick. But like one guy's paper tune with fletching on.
Yeah.
What is that telling you? Like when your fletchings are correcting your arrow. So when you shoot a fletched arrow through paper, what the fuck is it telling you?
But you're only shooting it at like, 6 feet. Like generally the arrow hasn't corrected by then, right?
So you're just seeing if it's tearing weak or stiff with fletching on, or what?
I mean, for me, like if I've bear shafted, generally my paper tune will be perfect out of the gate, or pretty close, like pretty damn close. But I mean, like often guys will skip a bear shaft and just do a paper tune and get a bullet hole through paper. And it's like, I mean, you can generally with a paper tune get your broadheads to group with your field points, like last year I didn't bear shaft because I forgot to save a shaft. I fletched all dozen of my arrows last year. And I just paper tuned it. And like I was shooting those iron well wides out to, I think 30 or 40 yards. And they were like hitting with my field point bang on, which, I don't know. I think a lot of guys too do all their tuning with the rest, not with the arrow, which I think is a huge mistake personally.
Yeah, so they just move the rest to try and correct their what their arrow's doing.
Yep,
I guess, or their sight and housing. I don't know.
Yeah. They move the rest around to deal with the the spot, the dynamic spine of the arrow, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Welcome to Archery Geek Talk.
Like even Tanner there at Frontiersman.
Yeah.
He's like he ordered a Tolkien, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually. I was just texting with him because he sent me a video of my knife, and he's like, he's got it like on his chest ring in a video that he just did, and I said, "Get my knife off your titty," and he laughed, and then he said, "Hey, I hope Wacey is excited for me to start bugging him about every day about my form when my bow comes." And I was like, I will mention that. I'm sure he won't mind. We all do. So
I'm totally excited
about it. It's gonna be great, eh?
Dude. Do you see that guy on Instagram? He's like, he's from Moose Jaw. He does like all them, like he's like, oh, I'm Leroy, and that's Leroy behind the camera. There's always something to do. It drives me nuts.
No,
there's a guy on Instagram. He keeps popping up on my feed. That drives me nuts, man. So Canadian,
dude. I love it. I'm trying. I honestly think that we should try to be more Canadian. I want to be the guy that Jared Tolkien thinks I am. You know what I mean?
Oh, get a couple drinks. You say an A and a boot.
What's that about? Like, I want to open with this. That could be me. And it's not. And I'm sorry, Jared. I need to be more Canadian.
You know what you need to send him? Just out for a rip.
I wonder if he's seen it. I'm going to send it to him right now.
Send them Little Windex. Say that's their number one rapper in Canada right now.
So me and Buddy were out having a dart.
Yeah, right. The American audience just checked out, I think.
Oh, they're missing out.
But I'm like, right? I'm totally excited about Tanner getting a bow. I love it when dudes like get a bow and message me and they're just like, what am I, let's get going. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I'm excited. I love seeing guys progress too. I love it. It's just like, I just feel like that's where I was, but I think nowadays too, it's a little easier.
Man, I take great pleasure in getting guys going in archery. I've been meaning to get him on the podcast here. My buddy Jonathan, like going through that experience with Jonathan, like I happened to be there the day that he walked into the bow shop to get a bow set up, and we started talking. We stayed in touch, and man, I feel like I was with him every step of the way because like I heard about everything, any tuning issues he had that came up, I helped him with. He sends me videos of his form, and then like all the way down to shooting his first deer. Like, man, it was wicked. That was a cool experience.
Yeah, just getting her done. That's awesome.
He's a savage. Like he's a hard dude. Like I took him back in one of the places that I like to go that Chad knows. And it's like not a very I don't know, how would you say it, Chad? Like
it's not hiking friendly if you have bad knees.
Yeah, Chad ended up with some hurt knees from it. But yeah, no, it's a bad spot. And I took him in there and he was just like psyched all day. He's like, this is great. There's just like stuff hitting him in the face. He's covered in like anything you could be covered in from the woods, like just sucking, you know. We're like, to get back to the truck, we're like straight down cliffs all day, like goat hunt style, you know, and he was stoked. But anyways, no, it's cool, man. It's so nice to help guys. Like that's huge to me, is trying to help guys that are just starting.
Yep. I love it. I like it. It's good. But I can. I like it. If I'm wrong, if I don't know, I'll like refer you to somebody that does know, or I'll figure it out, right? But I don't like back to that question on Instagram about arrows, man. I don't geek out on arrows. Like I tune an arrow that shoots, and that's it, man.
Dude, I'm too hyper retentive with everything. Like, what about my bear chart last year? Nobody on here knows about my bear chart. Oh, no. Chad is shaking his head and covering his face right now. Did you see my bear chart, Wacey? Did I send you it?
I never seen it. I never seen it.
No, it's color coded and everything.
Oh, yeah. Between bows, gear, all that, I'm like, what the heck is this dude doing?
Well, because like I had a ton of cams in the area, so I was tracking everything, and like it was to the point where we were getting in there, like as the bears were getting in there by the end of it. It was pretty crafty. I liked it.
I can't shit on it because it was pretty good, but it was killing me. I was just laughing.
I don't know. I like that stuff. I like paying attention to everything, but I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm so into archery. There's so many variables. There's so much stuff to screw up.
Wait until you get into reloading and long distance.
I don't think it'll happen. Because it'll take so long to get like so at the level of archery that I want to be at. I don't think it'll happen. And besides, I have you to reload, so I'm in good shape.
Yeah, I'll let you steal some hand loads since I stole your bows and arrows.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally fair. So you're gonna drag that stick bow on our goat hunt too, eh?
Yep, that is gonna be fun. You know what I'm worried about with all this? I don't want to become that Instagram douche that over romanticizes everything about the stick bow. You know, like I love the idea of going out with a stick bow. Like it is the coolest thing to me, but I don't want to be that guy that's just like
Wacey. He bought one of those Aspel fleeces too. Like he's going deep.
Oh man. The Navajo.
That's awesome.
So good. What else?
Yeah. So we got that goat hunt, and then we'll do elk hunting in our spot or your spot.
Our spot. Yeah. Yeah, man. I just like one thing I would say is like, I don't think I would do all of your hunting with the bow, you know, like make sure you get some meat in the freezer. Cause you hear stories of these guys that are like, I mean, goes against everything that Snyder has ever said. But I mean, I don't know if I would abandon like rifle hunting or compound hunting completely. And from my perspective anyways, just because you're going to have some years that you starve then for sure. And guys seem to lose interest fast when they're not finding some success, right? I don't know what you think about that, Wacey.
Yeah, I agree. You got to keep meat in the freezer. Meat's big too for me. I got 4 kids, right? So like Chad's
got no kids.
I just got a dog. That's it.
It's not even a big dog. Yeah, you can't even eat that much.
It's basically a cat.
Pretty much.
I always say I'm not a bow snob. And like, I kind of take that literally. Like I'll pick up a fucking gun and just like
let's go get it done because, I don't have, like, I'm running out of time, right? Like my wife needs me. My kids need me. I got shit that needs to get done. I got to get back to work. And I'm like, how long can you piss around? Yeah. And sometimes it's like, sometimes it just comes, it clicks, comes together. You get it done with a bow. It's sweet. And sometimes you're just like, fuck, hand me that 270. Let's get at her.
That's the good thing for me. Nobody needs me.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's going to be fun and it's going to be cool to watch you progress, Chad, and see how stuff comes along for you. And I think we should definitely heed Wacey's advice and get you out to a 3D course if we can find one to get you on. But maybe we'll just pack one of them little Reinhardts into the woods and do some bow hiking.
Definitely. Yeah, I was going to say another
even.
You go ahead.
I was going to say, even just get them tied, just get them some blunt tips and just go like shoot some rotten stumps, like get some different shot perspectives and shit. Like just get out away. Like it's kind of like shooting in the backyard is fine. You work on your form, you figure things out, but it doesn't really help you as much as it should. Like you got to get out and, try and tuck an arrow under a limb and get into a stump and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely get some blunt tips and go to the industrial area by my house and go after all the rabbits there. I think that'll go over well.
Probably, yeah.
I had a guy.
Your suburban neighbors won't get upset.
I had a guy come to my house one time. He had a bear grizzly or a bear Kodiak or some bear. I can't remember. And he wanted to shoot trad. He's a compound guy. So, and he was struggling, dude. Like he couldn't hit nothing. And I'm like, I'm going to go get some blunts and I'm going to come back and we'll shoot. And he's like, okay. And I come out and I start screwing the blunts on his arrow. He's like, dude, where's the blunts? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, I thought you said you're going to get some blunts. I'm like, yeah, blunt tips, not blunt weed. You fucking idiot.
Holy smokes.
Nice.
Was he from Surrey?
Yeah, no kidding.
He was actually from the Edmonton Bow Zone.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Did he have
good guy? He's a friend. He's actually a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine.
He didn't have a blue puffy on?
No, man. He's actually the dude's a killer too. Like he kills. It's just
that's rad. Did we tell that blue puffy story here? Because that's a good story. Did we?
You guys did, yeah. Oh, that was just hilarious.
So funny.
Chad's seen it first.
Oh, it was so. I was just like, what the heck is this guy doing? Because he's just looking around everywhere, like just
confused.
Like he's looking up the hill at me. I don't think he saw me. But he's looking up the hill at me, looking down the valley, picking up a rock, looking around, hucks it in the bush. I'm just like, is this guy like worried someone's going to see him throwing rocks in the bush?
Is he just trying to flush out deer? Like, what was that?
He was actually bow hunting pheasants.
Jump shooting deer. Dude.
But
awesome.
One thing I want to do is end of October, do a solo trip for mule deer.
Nice.
And go up to my spot that one I always hike, because I could get some 20-yard shots, no problem there.
Yeah.
And take the bow up there, go for the weekend at least.
Yeah. And then text Tyler to come help you pack it out.
Yeah, because my knee grenaded.
Yeah, exactly.
My knee grenaded. Tyler, help me.
Yeah, please help. Yeah. No, those pack outs sometimes aren't fun alone.
Yeah, but end of October, I think you just, give me oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
Just there's a bit of a lag. It's a piss off, but I just get some different shooting, like get some different terrain in and get some shooting. Shoot down hills, up hills. Figure that stuff out, because your brain is actually you're actually turning your brain into your rangefinder, right? Every day that you're shooting, like it's your brain is figuring out. That's why, like when you shoot a bow that's say like 190 feet per second, and you're shooting a 480 grain arrow out of a recurve, and and just say like the last 2 weeks you'd been shooting a bow that's 160 feet per second, with a 550 grain arrow, you'll be shooting high. Like you'll spine that target every shot, and it's going to take 100, 150 arrows till your brain kind of recalculates it, right?
Yeah.
At least for me, that's what I found. You got to like guys that jump bows and jump speeds with wood bows, they're going to struggle. If you're going to do like a backup bow, and this is the main reason I sold that border. That thing was a rocket ship, and I'm like, okay, either I'm going to do the super recurve rabbit hole and just all super recurve shit, all high speed, or I'm just going to be traditional style recurve, and that's what I chose, and that's why I sold that border. I'm like, you gotta, even like your backup bow has got to be the same, right? Because if you start jumping speeds too much, you're going to start spining animals or shooting under them, and it's going to be a train wreck if you got to use another bow.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of switching bows, because I had started on that stalker, going to that Tolkien was incredible. Like when I looked at Tyler, it was like, this is when a bow, like, not that I have much experience, but the fit was perfect. And it seemed like I was shooting better with that almost right off the bat. I couldn't believe how smooth it felt.
Yeah, those Tolkies are nice for sure. That Stalker is a really nice bow too. It's just, I think the grip might not speak to your shooting style as much as that Tolkien did. Yeah, like
I feel if that grip on the Stalker was a bit smaller.
Yeah.
Because I don't have massive hands, and it feels out of place a little bit. Not that I wasn't shooting it good, but it wasn't as consistent as when I picked up the Tolkien.
Yeah. Chad has very feminine hands.
Oh yeah. Very soft. Just the tiny hand.
I know some guys that'll mod grips, like Snyder does it. Like he'll take a file to that sucker and he'll make it work for him. Get it feeling right.
I don't think I could do that. I think I'd feel sick partway through. I don't think I can make that happen.
I can do it. I'm pretty confident with woodwork. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know.
It'd be a shame to take that check ring off the grip though.
Yeah. That Stalker is very nice. Okay. What's left, boys? Let's wrap this thing up.
Any more questions from,
yeah, but they're kind of silly. There's one about Sasquatch, which is funny. And
am I as hairy as a Sasquatch?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. No, there's a bunch of silly ones. There's a couple.
Is Chad single?
No, he's not, ladies.
I am not a piece of meat.
Yeah, I'm excited for Chad's trad journey. I'm tagging along. I get to see it looking in this time instead of being the guy.
That trip to Alberta was being on a bow only hunt. That was a huge eye opener for me, and seeing you shooting traditional bow and then seeing Tyler shoot compound. I'm like, not that I have anything against compound bows. I'm like, I know what I want to go with.
I don't want to kill anything ever. And that's the moment he made that decision.
The empty freezer life.
Trad Chad was born. And now he only gut shoots stuff with a rage.
Oh, man. All the sponsorships lost.
Are you going to shoot a rage out of your stick bow or no?
Dude, and make it the lightest arrow possible.
Yeah, maybe a 200 grain 700 spine with a rage on the front.
I might get up to 220 feet per second.
That's a good call.
Are you still vaping? Still sucking
He's
on the
vaping
robot?
right now.
Dude, vape bulls and rutting bulls.
There's a cloud in here, man. Get out of here.
Dude, I gotta have my wind checker with me.
Oh man. Yeah, actually it does work good as wind checker. He proved that in elk country. I ran out of wind check and he's like, hang on, bust out his vape thing. I'm like, this isn't gonna work. We're perfect.
Can you get it? Can you get any vape juice that smells like cow elk piss or what?
That's what I said to him. That's what I said on the first episode with Chatty. I was like,
are we going to edit out what I originally said?
I did edit it out. You didn't.
Should I say it now?
No, don't say it now. I'm trying to keep these so I don't have to edit a bunch of stuff out, man. We failed last night with Lander at that. We're having too much fun with Lander. There's a bunch of stuff I got to cut out of that thing.
Well, you're going to have to edit this one out because I got to tell
No, tell him after. That's a good spot to end this thing. That's enough. I've had enough of you guys. Get out of here.
Gong show here.
Get out of my house. I'm going to bed. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe and follow us on Instagram @WildernessLocals, or check out the gear at our website, www.wildernesslocals.net.